Boom! Alright, what's up you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a rare edition of Waves News. It's been quite a while since we've recorded one of these bad boys, but there has been so many fun and exciting things happening across the markets lately that I felt compelled to give you guys a few of my thoughts around these trending topics. So let's do exactly that. We'll quickly go over all of the headlines we'll be discussing, and then we'll dive into each one individually. The first, you guys know we got to talk about Mr. Elon Musk. This guy, there isn't a week, arguably a day that goes by without this guy in the headlines. And I mean, Elon is definitely the MVP of maybe not just the moment, but life in general. Okay, so MVP Elon Musk says he confronted Bill Gates about shorting Tesla. Now, this is especially relevant to the channel and the Waves fam right now. Even in the case that you guys aren't on board with me with this one, that's perfectly fine. But you would know that your boy has been shorting Tesla recently. So after we go over this, we will also touch on Tesla's blockbuster earnings, which I want to make very clear I did expect, and a lot of you guys would know that as well. Their blockbuster Q1 2022 earnings. And I also quickly want to touch on just my current thoughts following those earnings and why I do still have conviction in my short position. Again, Elon Musk, I want to make this very clear every time we talk about Tesla. I freaking love Elon Musk. I think Tesla is an amazing company. But again, you guys, I'm a trader, okay? Being a trader and being an evangelist and dreamer is one thing. And hey, I'm an evangelist and dreamer in other aspects. But first, I'm a trader, and that's just the game we play, right? We're trading regardless of sometimes the moral standpoint. But anyway, we will talk this because this is just a fun topic to talk about. Elon always knows how to stir up the pot, and it's always fun when you see, I mean, two of the richest people in the world going head to head, in a sense at least, I guess. Okay, so we'll talk some Tesla, we'll talk some Mr. Musk, and then we will talk some Mr. Powell. Okay, so Jerome Powell shook up the markets on Friday, really causing a market-wide sell-off. Very, very lucrative for the Waves fam, in the case that you guys were on the short train with me. But I mean, this is one of the many, I should say, macroeconomic headwinds that are standing in the way of the bulls of the markets. And arguably, this is at the top of that list. This is number one when it comes to those macroeconomic headwinds, okay? At least number one when it causes fear amongst investors and negative sentiment across the markets, okay? So Mr. Jerome Powell says taming inflation is absolutely essential and a 50 basis point hike possible for May. Okay, so we'll get into this, you guys. Take a look at what Mr. Powell has to say here. And again, you guys, this is very, very important to understand as we move forward in the markets, okay? There's also, this is actually tomorrow's video that I have prepped for you. Going to record this tomorrow, but we have a lot going on in the markets tomorrow, so stay tuned for that one as well. And then last but not least, if you guys want to feel a little bit better about just about your performance in the case that you've been losing money in the markets this past week or these past few months, just in general, just know, you guys, you're not alone. You're never alone, because even the big dogs, even the whales struggle sometimes as well. And hey, they're struggling on a greater scale with other people's money, which makes it that much worse. Okay, so again, just to feel a little better for yourself. I know sometimes I need to read articles like this. So billionaire investor Bill Ackman loses around $400 million as he dumps entire Netflix stake after just 3 months. So I'm sure all of you guys caught this by now. We'll actually go over this in tomorrow's video as well. Some of Netflix's, what caused Netflix to crater 25%, even more than that, as trading progressed over the end of last week. But Netflix got absolutely smoked. Netflix is a great precursor for what's to come in my mind. I said the same thing about Facebook and PayPal. Like, these are just the tech companies go first, the tech giants fall first, and then it's kind of that cascading effect when it comes to, and then it trickles down to retail from that. So like Amazon is announcing earnings next week. We'll talk more about this tomorrow. I don't want to spoil anything, but just stay tuned, okay? We'll talk a lot more about earnings coming up tomorrow, and I'll give more of my thesis around that. But anyway, again, you guys, it happens to billionaires too. It happens to the best of us. Billionaire investor Bill Ackman, lost a big old bag after Netflix cratered. All right. So those are the three stories we'll be going over before we talk about some of these words from Elon, from Papa Elon to Bill Gates. You guys, please give the video a like if you enjoy it. If you're, although the markets are a little scary, a little spooky, it's always good to stay engaged, keep educating yourself, keep learning, and yeah, I'd appreciate it if you guys subscribe to the channel and join the journey, join the Waves fam. So subscribe to the channel. If for some reason you're not already, give the video a like because I appreciate it. And let me know in the comments down below what of these 3 stories is your favorite, and just if there are any other stories you want me to include over the course of this week as we move through the week. And again, once again, a very exciting time for the markets. Okay, so key points. Lastly, appreciate you if you do any of those. Key points for this one. In a tweet on Friday, the Tesla CEO admitted that he asked Gates if he was short selling shares of the electric car maker. When investors short a stock, they are betting that the price of the asset will fall. It's not the first time the two men have had a public disagreement. Again, always love a good billionaire battle. I forgot to highlight this, but that's all right. We'll read through it. Elon Musk has accused Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates of shorting Tesla. In a tweet on Friday, the Tesla CEO admitted that he asked Gates if he was short selling shares of the electric car maker. When investors short a stock, once again, they're betting that it will go down. Quote, I heard from multiple people at TED, by the way, that TED Talk or that TED interview with Elon Musk that was posted like a week ago. Fire content. Definitely go check that out if for some reason you have not listened to that already. Okay, so TED, Elon Musk, YouTube it, go watch that. Hopefully after this, but hey, if you want to watch it now, it's perfectly fine too. That Gates still had $500 million short position against Tesla, which is why I asked him. So it's not exactly top secret, I said in a tweet. He was responding to a Twitter's user's question on whether a screen grab of a supposed text conversation between the two billionaires was real. The Tesla's chief response was, quote, yeah, but I didn't leak it to New York Times. They must have got it through friends of friends. The account that inquired about the messages, Whole Mars blog, heavily promotes Tesla and Elon Musk and is among the few handles that Elon Musk most interacts with on Twitter. So again, love Tesla. I'm not one of the moon boys like this guy is, but again, you guys, that's why Tesla is the number one cult stock probably that might ever exist ever. Like, it's right there. Tesla and Bitcoin are two very, very cult ticker symbols. Okay, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but that's just the reality of, again, a manic market environment. The person who runs Whole Mars blog is a co-defendant with Elon Musk in libel harassment lawsuit brought by Aaron Greenspan, the founder of the public records database Plainstein, who shorted Tesla stock, has been a vocal critic of Elon Musk. Okay, here's what I want to read. In the text exchange, which couldn't be independently verified by CNBC, Musk asked Gates, it's kind of a tongue twister, do you still have $500 million short position against Tesla? To which Gates replied, sorry to say, I haven't closed it out. I would like to discuss philanthropy possibilities, right? Really trying to turn the tables. I mean, not really turn the tables, but like, ripping off the band-aid and then, coming in hot with an ask, okay? But again, you guys, I feel like Gates feels kind of the same way as me. Like, Gates has obviously he has the Gates Foundation, massive philanthropic efforts in the fight for climate change. But that doesn't mean that you still can't try to make a great trade. Again, Tesla, great company. That doesn't mean the share price that doesn't mean that the share price can justify the current revenue models and financial models of Tesla. Again, one day, absolutely. Today, even if you just look at Tesla's chart, it just looks like a textbook two-wave pattern playing itself out. Like this, there's just so many arguments to be made. Anyway, Musk shot back, sorry, I cannot take your philanthropy on climate change seriously when you have a massive short position against Tesla, the company doing the most to solve climate change. So we're going to stop reading there, you guys, but I did read through this entire article. Bill Gates goes on to talk about why what Musk is doing is great, but why it's only a small fraction of the fight for climate change, which he's allegedly trying to address, and objectively is, I guess, through the Gates Foundation once again. But go read for this. It is interesting. And again, it's always fun to watch billionaires, some of the richest billionaires at that in the entire world, go at it. And shout out to the MVP, Elon Musk. So Tesla's earnings, again, Tesla blockbuster earnings call last week. You can see these numbers, blew EPS out of the water. So earnings per share out of the water by 42%. Revenue, even, it was a record quarter for Tesla. They reported 18.76 billion in revenue, surprise of 5.14% amongst analysts. And when you're talking about year over year, it's amazing. So we can go here. So March 2022 right here, year over year, 80% year over year revenue. Again, I want to make it very clear that these are amazing metrics, and this is what I expected. So I'm not going to ramble anymore. I want to read through this. This this is part of the newsletter that I wrote the day after Tesla's earnings call. Okay, and that was a roller coaster of a day. Tesla, although on market open, obviously Tesla following this earnings call was up like 12%. But by the end of that trading day, my puts were actually, or like the way I traded my puts, my put options, my short positions was actually green. Okay, and on Friday, obviously they went green as well. So. Just talk a little bit about my thesis following those earnings. Tesla crushed their Q1 earnings call yesterday by reporting record profits and EPS. The stock is reacting appropriately. If you guys recall, my short thesis going into this report was that the sales from the reported quarter would be impressive, but their outlook would reflect the idea that sales have peaked and things would likely begin slowing down moving forward. After going over these statements, both of those beliefs hold true, and although the stock is displaying manic optimism at the moment, I believe reality still has the potential to set in. Therefore, I've decided to make the following trade. And I mean, there's no spoiler alert here. I tripled down on my Tesla put position. I'm sure if you guys are in that part of the newsletter or portfolio, you guys are fine with this because this was a few trading days back. Right now, if you felt that this was good for you, you probably would have jumped on board with similar puts. Again, I never want you guys to copy me. That's not the point of the newsletter. I definitely recommend you guys don't copy me actually because you guys know how that can go sometimes. But in the case that you did decide, you agreed with my sentiment that Tesla was going to go down, then these put positions were highly lucrative, and I mean, it was great. So again, this comes down to pretty much every play I ever talk about. This may sound crazy, and the decision could very well lose me even more money, but I'm choosing to go down with my ship in the case that they do. Okay, so again, you guys, I have the macro conviction for Tesla. Unfortunately, again, love Tesla. It sucks that Tesla has to be the stock or the company that has just such an outrageous stock price and share price, but that's the reality of the game. Again, you guys, I don't discriminate from a morally. I mean, if it's obviously super immoral, I won't do it, but Tesla, even if the stock falls, it's going to be just fine. Tesla will always be just fine. It's a highly competent company and a company of the future. But right now, again, you guys, I'm a trader. I'm in the business of making money, and that's I'll go down with my ship. I'll pirate down my ship like Mr. Jack Sparrow here. So that's that, you guys. Well, I'll talk a little bit. We'll take a look at some charts tomorrow. Of course, we'll take a look at Bitcoin, Tesla on the charts tomorrow. Tomorrow's Sunday Stock Watch. But if you guys aren't subscribed to the newsletter yet, to the daily newsletter I write, what are you doing? Why aren't you subscribed yet? I highly encourage you to subscribe to the newsletter. It's only $15 a month or $40 for every 3 months. And on top of the daily newsletter, you also receive a complete breakdown of my entire personal portfolio. These Tesla puts, where are they? The Tesla puts are only a very small part of that portfolio. I have so many more positions, like probably 40 to 50 positions at any given time that I'm updating every day. And I explain my updates through the newsletter, as well as anything else I feel is important to know. But again, you guys, it's just $15 a month, or once again, $40 for 3 months. That's completely up to you. But give it a try. If you don't like it, just unsubscribe. But I'll work really hard on it. I feel it is very worth it. So that will be the first link down in the description box below if you happen to be interested. Let's move on to some words from Mr. Powell. So key points: Fed Chairman Jerome Powell on Thursday said the central bank is committed to raising rates expeditiously, what a word, to bring down inflation. That could mean an interest rate hike of 50 basis points in May as prices rise to their fastest pace, in more than 40 years. Quote, "It's absolutely essential to restore price stability," he then added. Shout out JP. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell affirmed the central bank's determination to bring down inflation and said Thursday that aggressive rate hikes are possible as soon as next month. It's, quote, "It is appropriate, in my view, to be moving a little more quickly to raise interest rates," Powell said, while part of an International Monetary Fund panel moderated by CNBC's Sarah Eisen. Quote, "I also think there is something to be said for front-end loading any accommodation one thinks is appropriate. I would say 50 basis points will be on the table for the May meeting." Okay, so 50 basis points. You guys know their April meeting, they went with a 20.25 basis points, so a quarter of a percentage point, right? 100 basis points would be 1%. Okay, so 50 basis points, a little staggering, but, and it's not mentioned in this article, but what has been floating around the ether a lot across the financial media news outlets and stuff, and even amongst the Fed, has been the dreaded, and this was my black swan when it comes to the Fed, like obviously 0.25, obviously 0.5 for multiple months in a row was on the table. If they weren't doing that, the Fed is straight up not doing their job and they're incompetent. And I trust Jerome Powell. I mean, Jerome Powell's a smart enough guy. He knows what he's doing. He's trying to keep balance. This is a very, very difficult job that I do not envy anyone has, and I do not envy Jerome Powell's position in the slightest, because this sucks. Pretty much however you approach it, but they have been talking about 0.75. So 75 point rate. 75 basis point interest rate hikes. There we go. So if they do in fact raise basis point, or do a 75 basis point raise or interest rate hike, that is very, very detrimental. And that's what I've been saying for a while, if you guys have been tuning in, is kind of the black swan, in my opinion, when it comes to the actions that the Fed decides to take in the way that they attack inflation, right? So in the case that they do persist on that 75 basis points, I mean, the markets are probably going to continue to tank. Right now, even 50 basis points, even if they're talking about consistent front loading too, which is where, like, say May, June, July, they go excessively hard, and then August, September, October, they start to slow down and taper off as we go into 2023. Regardless, if they choose to front end, which makes sense to me too. I don't know why you wouldn't do that, because inflation is hot as shit right now. Front end loading makes a lot of sense, and I do think they'll do that. And again, if you say something like this, there's no point in going back on your word. I feel very similarly about that to and I was going to cover this, but I didn't, to Elon obviously going on Twitter, trying to buy out Twitter. I'm not going to say if I think that's a good idea or bad idea, but I will say that when Elon puts something out there, when Elon puts his foot down and puts his mind to something, he doesn't lose. He's the richest man in the world. Elon is not a loser, all right? Elon is like the epitome of a winner. The guy doesn't lose. The guy's not going to lose, okay? So either Twitter, I'll just chime in here, a little bonus. Either Twitter caves in, Elon buys them out, just kind of forces them out by buying the majority of existing shares, and just at an absolute premium, or Twitter goes out and finds another buyer in, whether it's Disney or some other large corporation. Either way, Twitter is going to be acquired. Twitter is going to be bought out, but it's just a matter of who buys them out at this point, okay? So that's that, you guys. But again, tomorrow we will talk a lot more about earnings going down this week, and just some of the bearish precursors in the earnings that happened last week. Okay, so stock watch tomorrow. Stay tuned. Let's close it out with Mr. Bill Ackman, the guy who's, I mean, if you guys remember, one of the first Waves Weeklies, probably right after the pandemic hit, Bill Ackman was the one on CNBC, like crying, like so scared. Talking about how he's terrified for what will come in the future as the markets were tanking, and while he was doing that, he was purchasing shares. So he kind of go look into that if you haven't. But this guy was a very controversial character who, again, putting morals aside, arguably, like he played the fear. He took advantage of the fear that he kind of catalyzed in a sense through that CNBC interview by correctly shorting and repurchasing on the way down and back up during the pandemic lows. Okay, so anyway, Bill Ackman, very, very notorious, pretty controversial figure, but I mean, still a highly respected investor and highly competent investor at that. Okay, so Bill Ackman's Pershing Square has lost around $400 million or more as it dumps its entire Netflix stake. Bold move to just, dump your entire stake. Hedge fund bought about 3.1 million Netflix shares in late January. That is crazy to me, why Bill Ackman decided to buy Netflix shares in January, because that is right as we're coming out of the pandemic, right? The reason Netflix was such a pandemic stock, has thrived over the past couple of years, is because everyone was locked at home, right? When you can't go out, what are you going to do? You're going to watch Netflix, okay? You're going to spend excessive amounts of time on Netflix, as opposed to when the world is up and running and everyone's out and about. So the fact that as the pandemic was ending, as everyone was getting back outside, and it was super, super obvious that Netflix was going to be used less based on that simple fact, it's crazy that Bill Ackman decided to buy Netflix shares, especially, again, there's Disney Plus, there's Hulu, there's HBO Max, and like HBO and Amazon Prime, they're coming out with fire. Like, We Crashed is an amazing show. I'm watching Outer Range with Josh Brolin right now on Amazon Prime. That's an amazing show. If you guys have any content recommendations, please let me know below. I'm always looking for a good new show. It's rare that I kind of get into series like that, but if it's really good, I'll watch it. So We Crashed, Outer Range, my fun content recommendations. Let me know down below if you guys have any. But I mean, this just seems like a stupid trade, and in retrospect, Obviously, everything's 2020 in retrospect. I'm sure he's thinking the same thing. But Netflix share price crashed 35% on the news that it lost 200K subscribers in the first quarter. Again, we will be looking over that tomorrow, talking about the earnings to come next week. Amazon, Microsoft, Google, they all announce earnings next week. And we'll talk about what I feel is on the horizon. Okay, so we'll call it there, you guys. That was a fun one to record. These are always more chill. And I hope you guys enjoyed a nice little Saturday Waves news. So I'll catch you tomorrow for Sunday Stock Watch. Again, if you guys want, I would greatly appreciate it. It really does mean a lot if you guys sign up for the newsletter, because I do put a lot of work into that every single morning. So that's going to be the first link down below. Again, I'll catch you guys downstairs in the comments, talk about whatever you guys want. And yeah, have a great rest of your day. Until next time, you guys, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.